is Amena Art, and today we are with Amena K, our artist, and she's going to be talking about this flower painting.
So this is a really interesting one we got today. So again, welcome. My name is Amena, and I'm the artist not only on this painting, but everything that you'll see on amenaart.com and in store. So my daughter Delphina has got some questions for me to answer for you guys to learn all about this piece. So I'm ready. So what we got?
Let's start. What is its name?
Cascading Flowers. It cascades. They're flowers. Pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. So, secondly, I'm pretty sure this is a specific type of flower. So, you want to tell like the story of why you chose this?
Interesting enough, I don't know if this flower exists. I think it it was a flower, and then it kind of took on its own flower, if you know what I mean. I was like, I had an idea, and I'll tell you why that is when Delphina answers me some more questions that more relates to it. But it was an idea of a specific flower, and then it kind of emulated into something entirely different.
Honestly, it kind of gives, like, this entire piece, I'm just going to say this offhand, it kind of gives, like, France, like Nietzsche's France. It does, but I'm not sure if that was a reference.
It kind of is, actually, in this piece. Actually, this is one of my older pieces. Like, this isn't probably one of the older large pieces that I have that is now available for show and for sale. So this was a part of my private collection for a long time. And actually, it's set unfinished for years. I think about a good 5 years I didn't touch this. And the reason why was because of the flowers. So originally when I made this, the leaves, a little bit different placements, not as defined when I first started making it, which I'll talk about that because I don't want to get too far off of Delphina's question. It does play into Nice a lot because during that time, we actually were going to Nice a lot, and I had a lot of photos of Nice, and they have a lot of these beautiful flowering vines. And so, yes, it does play into Nice, and it's an element that I actually forgot. But again, this is one of those older pieces that I kind of revived, and I'll tell you about that here in a little bit.
Well, go ahead and tell me, how did you revive it?
How I revive it, or why? Or something?
Why? How, like, what did it come out of that 5-year stasis?
It was at least 5 years. So
yeah.
I actually, like I said, it looked totally different when I first started this piece. The background was one of those elements that I kind of redid over and over again. So when this piece first started, it actually was a lot less. This whole thing didn't exist, and it was pretty much a focus just through here. And there was some little element here, but it wasn't, I think it was like a big flower or something. And I didn't like it at all. The style was off. I wasn't feeling it. It was very, very, it is very detailed. Like if you look, it is very detailed. It is one of my very, very, very detailed pieces. But it was very detailed in the manner that it had little tiny lines. It was like very small line work. I was using a very small brush. I hated it. It was too busy. And I was just like, you know what? I like the look of it, like the look overall, like the structure, but I hate the design elements. And so I ended up changing it a bit, and I started playing around with these more wispy leaves, because before, like, the leaves were like leafy. They were very leafy, you know. So like I said, it was very fine leaves, and it wasn't like giving this vine look. It was giving more like a bush look, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I never made something like this before. So sometimes you have to put a piece aside and like kind of, you know, work on other things until you figure out the style that you're going for. And that was why it sat for so long. So when I came back to this, because I came back to it more than once, all right? This is one of those pieces I was developing over time because I loved the element in the background. I loved, you know, the way it looks. I didn't want to change that. And I didn't want to cover all of it up. So, you know, just kind of playing here and there over the years with it. I started developing this style with its leaves, and I really liked that. And I was just like, okay, well, I got the leaves going, right? And then I went back to the flowers, and there were the flowers changed styles entirely different. It went from like this kind of like more real flowers to now it's kind of cartoony. We got the very, very bold line work, which you'll see in only a few of my paintings currently. So in keeping that bold line work, I noticed it started getting a kind of like glass appearance. It started getting more of like a stained glass where you have these bold colors against these very, not intricate lines, but like colored lines, kind of like stained glass where you have the, the colors right in the middle and then you have the other color like wrapping around it. So I wanted to play with that more. I just didn't know how. I didn't have the skill yet. I didn't develop this style yet. So this particular painting was actually testing all of my creative abilities at the time. I remember this was like 5 years at that time when I finished this. At least it might have been even older than that. This might be a 10-year piece since I like had my gallery in my house. I think I started that. So this is like literally like 9-10 years old in creation. But didn't really finish until last year. I finished this last year finally. And really, to finish this last year, I couldn't finish it for a while because I couldn't remix the colors. I didn't even remember what colors I used. When we're working on a piece, especially in acrylic for that long, you don't remember what color unless you're using solid colors, which I don't use solid colors. I do all my mixing myself. So, when I had this going, I had to figure out how to manipulate the paints. Again, and at the time I wasn't doing this. I didn't have the gallery. I wasn't mixing paint daily and figuring out all of this. So it really tested not only my patience but also my skills, or I wouldn't say not only my skills as an artist but also my patience in a piece. Because again, this is one of those pieces I think that I worked on the longest over the time frame. I loved it. It hung on the wall unfinished for years. But as I worked through it, I kept running across these roadblocks. I'm so glad it's finished. It's a gorgeous piece. I love it. So I'm glad to actually talk about it now and have it today with us to talk about.
Mm-hmm. So honestly, it's kind of like changing piece. It's forever changing, just like you. It's going through its constant stages. This is one of the pieces that are like the fundamentals that kind of give, I think, the feeling of new growth, kind of like new change. So it was like one of your first newly styled things.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to explain it. So whereas we always talk about like maybe emotions I was going through at the time, or different line work that I'm trying to emulate a mood, this is a little bit different and more, this is the evolution of an artist. So this piece is really involved in not only our family ties with, of course, South France and the Floral and stuff like that, but also me as a person, as an artist, as a creator, and really testing my abilities and being that ever-changing piece. So,
which I believe that's perfect for what it is. It doesn't really need to have a story. It doesn't really have to have a reason behind the flowers or the plants. It's just ever changing as it is, as an artist, as a piece, and that's just perfect as it is, honestly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why a lot of people do actually enjoy it as well.
Also, it is a real, like, if you got up close, it's got so many colors. It is actually one of my most color focused pieces. I really tested my boundaries on colors and color theory. Which I ended up loving color theory in college. I took a number of color theory classes, and it actually became one of my favorite classes, the most interesting and challenging ones. But you could tell in my work today that I love color, and I like playing with these different colors throughout, because you wouldn't see these pieces, even though they're all the same color. You wouldn't see them unless I grouped them specifically in a certain way to make it stand out and the different layers.
Yeah. I believe we kind of already went over a little bit of everything, but is there anything else that you can think of that you would like to point out or just add on?
I think the only other thing is I would like to say about this piece is if you were to see it in person, or at least even own a product, because we do have products with this on it, is really take the moment to appreciate the line work on it and the color theory, because this is one of those ones that you could literally stare at it all day and find something slightly different. And I don't mean like different, like, oh, there's a different thing that you'll see hidden in here, but really just the play on colors. You can see the dimension. You can see that I've got some background. I've got, you know, this one has a brown, you know, outline. This one has a green. This one has, you know, it has a light blue there to play with the actual background, the lights. So you'll see even these have the blue. That's not to reminisce in the background. It's to play with the background. But this is the light. This is the light from the sun. And it just plays on that really well. So I think in this piece, I really want you to take a moment and just appreciate the colors and the journey that it tells. Not so much for what it is, you know, just take a moment. It's just a different way to look at it in general. And in any art piece, you know, sometimes you just have to appreciate it in a different way.
Which I believe that gives the basic fundamental of this piece as itself. So that is Cascading Flowers made by Amena here. I am Delphine. We are with Amena Art. If you want to see any of the products or even this piece on showcase, you can go to amenaart.com. And thank you for watching Amena Art on YouTube.
Thank you guys.